In this video, we're going to be talking about DI setups and how to make them sound as best as you can. Especially, this is important in a live scenario because we're not able to mic up our acoustic guitars live most of the time. So that's why they made DIs for acoustic. Now, I'll be the first to admit it, DIs on acoustic, meaning this pickup on an acoustic guitar, whether it's up here and the controls are up here and it's a sort of a bridge, under the bridge pickup, or if it's a sound hole pickup or a mic inside the guitar, they just don't sound that good. In general, they're not going to sound as good as a mic, and most of the time they just don't sound good. So you have to do a lot of manipulation. You have to know, definitely buy the right product, and then do the right kind of manipulation inside of the sound desk to make it sound as good as possible. So we're going to talk about that today. Right now, I just want to show you what this pickup sounds like right out of the gates. This is the LR bags, which I'm going to show you on the screen in a second. Now that's no EQ, no compression, no nothing. So now let's take that sound signal that I just made and make it sound as beautiful as possible. And then you can show this video to like your live front of house engineer if you're playing live, or you can do this live yourself if you're a front of house mixer or whatever the case might be. Okay, let's say you're plugged in, your DI is going, and now you're not sure why it sounds the way it does, and you want to make it sound as good as possible, especially in a live setting. So this is just a DI guitar, the same guitar that I just showed you with that same LR bags pickup, plugged straight in, no EQ, no compression, and I just played a couple chords just so we could have something to mess around with. So here it is. So as I start to manipulate this, what I want to do is kind of use three different things. I'm going to start with EQ and just change a couple of things to make it sound a little bit more even and kind of smooth it out a little bit. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to add in some compression and then finish it off with some verb. So let's start our channel strip down here. I'm going to drop in an EQ, and then let's drop in just a regular compressor, nothing special there. And then I'm also going to drop in some verb. Let's go with the Valhalla Vintage Room, maybe the Vintage Verb. We'll try that out here in a second. For now, we're going to turn them off. Okay, let's play through this and listen. I'm going to loop it, and we're going to manipulate the EQ, and first start with taking out the low end. So what I did first was I took out the low end that you couldn't really hear anyway, but was clouding the guitar signal. And then I found a slight, I would call it a honk, but it's just a slight resonance in the 1K range that just wasn't pleasing. And let's listen to it on and off. So this is what you always want to do with EQ. You want to listen to it first without and then with, and see if you're getting better, because sometimes your eyes can trick your ears. So we just want to make sure we're definitely making the guitar sound better, not worse. So that's off and then on. Again, when I found that frequency I didn't want, if you noticed, what I did was I grabbed and I just kind of swooped around until I heard that frequency poke out and be even more annoying. So if if you want to find the annoying frequencies, that's what you do. You kind of take maybe like a little bit of a tighter cue, and you're going to sweep around the track until you find that frequency that really just doesn't work and that's making annoying sounds. And then we pull it out. Okay, let's move on to some compression now. This is where the magic is going to start happening. So if you don't know what compression is, if you see this waveform up here, it's basically like taking all these low points. This is like the poor man's description, is taking these low points and bringing them up to a certain volume, and then taking the high points and bringing them down to a certain volume so that you get a more even waveform, not quite as dynamic. It's like a dynamic tool. So the softs become louder, the louds become softer, and it starts to sound a little bit more smooth. Check it out. So again, we listen to it without the effects and with the effects to see how we're doing. It's no effects. With acoustic, with the DI, I'm liking the release and the attack kind of at opposites of each other. And then the ratio 2 or 3 to 1. I like heavier compression, especially with acoustic. Okay, now we're not going to want to make it swim in reverb, but we're just going to want to add some, I don't know, I like to imagine it as like adding stereo field. So this is a mono channel, meaning it's just one signal. But now we're going to add in just like some depth. So really barely any reverb. I'm going to make sure I'm not verbing out the low end. I don't want any of the verb to hit the low end. So I'm going to do a low cut. Minimal decay, maybe a little pre-delay just to give it like some depth. Meaning this means that like after the acoustic waveform hits, it waits 8.9 milliseconds before the reverb kicks in. So let's see how that sounds. So no verb with verb. You can see it just added like a little bit of stereo field and kind of brought the whole track to life. Of course, you can turn up the verb if you want, but in this case, I'm more going for a natural sound, like I'm in the room with the guitar. So that's just turning up the verb. Over here I recorded some finger picking. Let's see what our effects sound like on finger picking. You can hear that compression really starting to work there with the finger pickings. Now, if you're wondering what DI to buy for your acoustic guitar, the options are limitless, but I found, and my fellow acoustic guitar players in the industry who I really look up to sort of agree that the best on the market and the most non-invasive for your acoustic is going to be this pickup that I was just using right now, this LR Baggs M1. That's what I have in my guitar. Pretty inexpensive, really easy to install. It's just once you get the unit itself, all you have to do is put it through the sound, where you connect your strap. You take it to an acoustic guitar guy or a guitar repair shop, and they'll be able to install this for you where the strap goes, and then it plugs in and just kind of fits into the sound hole and sounds pretty good. They do have the more expensive version. I think I have it pulled up here, that I've seen a lot of people use as well. This is called the M80. It's $250. I think it's just a little bit more dynamic than the one that I have on my guitar. But if you want the same exact sound that I have, then this is the acoustic pickup that I use right here. I have tried these before, which are the type of pickups that actually fit underneath the saddle of the guitar. So right where the strings fall into the guitar and kind of stay attached right at the bridge, that's where this pickup kind of lies, and it's definitely the least invasive on your guitar. It requires the least amount of space and doesn't take up that much room visually, but just they don't sound that great. The technology in these, they're just not that great. So if you want a more sleek look, you could go for one of these. Otherwise, this is definitely my recommendation right here for an acoustic DI. I've tried them all, or most of them all. I've tried a lot of different setups, and this, just take my word for it, this is the one.